It takes more than knowledge and skill to be the innovator, the trailblazer. It takes imagination, discipline, and above all, a willingness to trust that the instincts that have served you well in the past will do so now, when the opportunities before you demand a bold new approach. It's that sort of confidence that led the Kerr McGee Corporation to gamble everything on the search for new oil fields in the depths of the Great Depression, to drill the first successful offshore oil well out of sight of land in 1947. And today, to this. This is Nansen, the first of two deep-water spar oil and gas production platforms Kerr McGee, in partnership with Ocean Energy, will put into service in the next few months. The Nansen prospect is named for Fridtjof Nansen, famed Norwegian Arctic explorer, oceanographer, and Nobel Peace Prize-winning statesman of the late 19th and early 20th century. Reserves of 725 to 950 billion cubic feet of natural gas equivalent have been identified in water 2/3 of a mile beneath the surface of the Gulf of Mexico. A virtually identical truss spar platform will join her in the Gulf in early 2002 to begin developing the Boomvang field just 9 miles away. There, estimated oil reserves of 70 to 100 million equivalent barrels await recovery. The very first floating spar production platform, Kerr McGee's Neptune, has been on station in the Gulf off Mobile since 1996. This innovation in oil technology received a Distinguished Achievement Award at the 2000 Offshore Technology Conference. The construction of the Nansen spar at the CSO Aka Mantiluoto Works FAD yard in Finland was only one phase of an immense and tightly choreographed undertaking intended to begin bringing much-needed natural gas from the Nansen field to U.S. consumers. In Morgan City, J. Ray McDermott undertook fabrication of the 5,300-ton production topsides that sit atop the Nansen spar. And 140 miles off the Texas-Louisiana coast, in 3,600 feet of water, the drilling rig Ocean Star has drilled the initial wells from which the wealth of natural gas and oil will flow. Commissioned just in time for the Nansen project, the deepwater pipe-laying vessel Deep Blue has undertaken the installation of more than 100 miles of export pipelines and catenary risers. The Nansen and Boomvang spars are the next generation in the evolution of deepwater oil field technology. Unlike the earlier Neptune spar, which was a closed cylinder, the lower portion of the Nansen and Boomvang spars are an open truss. At 543 feet long, they are more than 150 feet shorter than Neptune, which makes them even more economical to fabricate and install. Each of the new spar platforms will be capable of processing up to 40,000 barrels of oil and 200 million cubic feet of gas per day. In early September, the Nansen spar was transported to the U.S. from Finland aboard the huge semi-submersible vessel Mighty Servant 1. Upon arrival at Gulf Marine Fabricators, the spar was prepped for the tow-out and upending. The hull tow-out to East Break 602 began on September 27th. With an early morning arrival in the field on September 29th.
The structure as we see it here weighs just under 12,000 tons, which is very similar to the classic spar that we did at Neptune a few years ago. And the payload that we can carry here is about 40% greater than the payload we had at Neptune.
McDermott's derrick barge 50 was positioned to begin flooding the hull's ballast tanks to initiate the upending process.
Okay, how do I do, brother? The way you slide there, I'm just going to have to keep correcting you every now and again.
It'll be all right once we get down and put some more water in the ballast tanks aft and start the trimmer up more level. But no, she's coming in really nicely.
On September 30th, after taking on a total of 3.8 million gallons of water, the Nansen hull stood at last in her upright position. The massive topside assembly was completed at the McDermott yard in late October and was loaded aboard a barge for the 200-mile trip offshore. The mating of the topside structure to the Nansen spar began in darkness on the night of November 7th.
Vince, knock that 20 back off.
Ain't got to pull up, bro. Just raise it up and swing over.
By morning, the assembly was complete, and final preparations began to turn the promise of the Nansen field into a reality. The quest for oil and gas will always favor the bold and the innovative. Nansen and Boomfang are 21st century embodiments of that spirit and of Kerr McGee's commitment to meeting man's unceasing energy needs. Kerr McGee, a new world of energy.